Oranges win the game.
Ah, we're on. Okay.
What a mascot. The Yankee Doodle Dandies win.
Hey, we're live, and this is the Angels Roundtable. Oh. We're in preseason form already, jumping the gun. Hopefully you didn't endure yourselves too much with the game tonight. Welcome everybody in from Instagram and YouTube. I am your host, Todd Fox, along with a panel. And we're going to go down the line real quick, and the second one in command is Fernando Mendez.
Fernando, the Lone Star Halo. Hello.
Yes, sir. And all the way from Catella, Mr. Catella Chronicles himself. Say hello.
What's up? Dominic Lorenz here. How's it going, Halos in the infield, folks?
And everybody's favorite, James Gonzalez.
Hey, how's everybody going? Happy to be back here for a third season. This one's going to be even better.
And from parts unknown, with only a name on the video, his name is Andrew.
Hey, everyone. Hey, I promise I actually do have a face. It's not just the floating letters, you know?
There you go. It's not just a ghost. And all the way from a softball game on a walk-off walk loss, she's playing as good as our Halos, the one, the only.
Oh my God, it's Courtney. What is up, you pieces of trash? I can't wait to be back. I'm so excited for this season because we already started off with a bang.
There you go. A bang on the scoreboard, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, can I say one thing real quick?
Go for it.
When you were introducing everybody, you said everyone's favorite, and Courtney was getting ready to be like, and you were like, James? Her face.
So excited. I was like, I knew everybody wanted me back, but then I forgot.
James?
We gonna need a recount on that. We're going to need a recount. We all know I'm not the favorite. We all know that.
Steve Harvey with like Miss Philippines. Sorry, guys. Miss Philippines is actually the winner. It's in the cards. That's Todd.
Well, you know what we got to do real quick before we start any – because what we're going to do is we're going to preview this whole season, or at least give our takes on what we're going to do this season. Because there's a lot of optimism. There's a lot of hate, too. So, but one thing I want to get out of the way right away, the big question, I want everyone's percentage. We're going to go down the line. Give me a quick hit, percentage, and answer. What is your quick response to Shohei Ohtani returning as an Angel next season? And we'll go with Fernando down the line.
I'm going to say with 40% chance he stays.
And why?
And why? A, because I want to be emotionally prepared for him to leave. And B, I don't know, man. Like, I love Shohei Ohtani. He's my favorite current player because he's so fun to watch. He's an incredible athlete. But no matter which way you slice it or dice it, in about 3 or 4 years, that contract's not going to be worth it under any way, shape, or form. Now, that gets a lot better if we win a ring. But no matter which way you slice or dice it, in 3 or 4 years, it's not going to be worth it.
All right. Well, Dominique, before you do, Fernando, check your audio. And Dominique, same question, bro.
The Angel lover in me wants to say 55% he's staying, 45% he's going, just because I feel he's going to be at a winning place and not, I'm going to be the next billion-dollar player. That's just who he is. Mm-hmm. But if the Angels have a season like they did last year, he's out the door by June 1st. Ooh. They're going to trade him way before the deadline. He's not going to sit back and just say, okay, we're 10 games under 500 by May 15th. Yeah, no, he's not sitting through that. So this season, if the Angels win and prove they can at least compete, he may stay. It'll be better for the Angels if they win, but if they start losing, it's game over. He's gone.
Okay. What about James?
I share the same sentiments as Dominic. Exactly. But my percentage is probably about 32. My favorite number, 32%.
32%? That's random. Okay.
32 because of Cam Bedrosian?
Josh Hamilton.
Oh, no.
It's the Hamilton effect. Oh, he's frozen. Andrew, I'll ask you the same question.
I'm going to go 80% that he stays.
Oh.
Ooh.
Interesting.
I like that.
I need to know the answer why.
Hey,
what's your reasoning behind it?
One, seeing that number that was leaked out into the press about where his starting point is for an extension.
Okay.
Usually that's someone that's like willing to negotiate. What was that number? Like 520 million or 500 million?
500 million was the starting, yeah.
Yeah. Not only that, he just seems like a guy that wants to be a lifer. He's interested in legacy. Going from team to team doesn't really establish that. I think he wants to be an Angels for life. I know everyone's talking about the winning argument. We've heard a few quotes from that, not so much directly from him. If he was looking for a winning franchise, I don't think he would have chose. No offense, the Angels out of the gate. He had the pick of a lot of different franchises, and he went with the Angels. They weren't like a powerhouse at the time. I don't know. I just get the vibe that he's going to stay.
Okay, and we'll take Courtney on that.
I say 40% he stays, just because of the fact that I do believe that it's like same as Andrew. I do believe that he wants some type of legacy, and hopping around from team to team obviously doesn't help that. And I honestly just think it's the Japanese culture in him. It's like a respect thing. Like he just wants to respect the team, kind of, and hopefully stay here. But being the player that he is, I just feel like he's going to get tired, especially if he has to carry the team all the time. Like Mike Trout can only do so much, and I mean, that's it. That's all we have. So between Mike Trout and Ohtani, I just feel like he will more than likely get tired, especially if we're not winning. Not like forget even having just a championship, winning a World Series, just even a winning season. Like you can't do anything with that. So 40-60.
Okay. I think my only thoughts on it are it's not going to be Artie that's going to save the day and sign him no matter how much he writes a check for. I think it's the team on the field. If they can't perform like you guys have said, and Courtney just pointed out, there's no reason for him to stay. He's going to look for greener pastures. I don't think he's going to go East Coast, but West Coast, unfortunately. So, that
Well, what's your percentage?
My percentage would be 30% he stays. I really don't see him staying, dude, unless the Angels at least make it to the first round or beyond. I just don't see it because there is something to that honor that you guys talked about too, in the fact that he wants to win. I mean, just look at the WBC and how excited he wants. He wants to jump around with Ippei and the rest of his crew here in Anaheim just as much as he did with Japan.
Okay, so what's more likely on Ohtani staying? The Angels making it in the playoffs and getting bounced early, or the Angels winning and him wanting to run it back?
Let's just say they get to a series to where it's, in my opinion, it goes down to a decisive game and the Angels get squeaked out of it somehow. I think it's unfinished business for him. If they get swept, he's probably out anyway. I think the competitive juices might keep him here. Might.
Fair enough.
So,
Dominic, you jumping in?
I'm thinking there's two things about Ohtani I'm thinking about right now. If the Angels don't make the playoffs, but they still end with an above 500 record, like a good winning record. Like I predicted the Angels to win 86 games this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the Angels finish up with 86 wins, is that close enough for him to say, okay, we've turned the corner. We're done with the under 500 record. We're moving in the right direction. Perry Manassian did a very good job of adding depth to the squad, and he can continue that. That's part A. Part B, if I know Fernando said, if that back end of the contract, if he does sign with the Angels, it could be detrimental later on. What if he goes something instead of the 12-year deal that everybody's thinking he's going to get? What if it's, I don't know, a 10-year deal, but an opt-out after the third year? Does he go with the opt-out clauses like a lot of players like to do, for example, like Carlos Correa last year with the Twins?
True.
So it puts it into perspective. I really think it's going to depend on how they perform on the field. 100%.
A lot of people here too on the comments. I'll just comment on that real quick. Is a lot of people are saying 500 million and above, 10 to 12 years. Does that sound about right? Because what 250 for a pitcher, 250 for a hitter, or 200 for a pitcher, 300 for a hitter?
Yeah,
Sounds about right. But how old is Ohtani?
29.
I don't like the 10 to 12-year deals, especially when you're getting into your late 20s, early 30s. Because I mean, how long, especially for him being a two-way, how long do you expect him to be a two-way? Honestly. Because I mean, I understand that he had his Tommy John surgery and you're hoping that nothing else is going to happen to him. But those are a lot of games. 162 games is a lot of games being a two-way player. I mean, it's great that he's doing it now. Obviously, I'm not trying to hate on the man. That's just a lot of games. That could be a lot of wear and tear on you. So I would like to see him not take a 10 to 12-year deal like that, just simply for his own personal player health. Like, that's just me.
Okay. The next question I want to ask the panel right here is the Ohtani cloud hanging over the Angels. does that affect already what you guys perceive to be a better team than last year, improving them and helping them to give them something to shoot for? I mean, not only to get to the playoffs, but to save Ohtani as an Angel. Does that help them? Is that too much pressure and it hurts them? Thoughts?
I think it's just another day in the office. I mean, these guys are professionals. These guys have really up and down the roster, they've all been there. I mean, it doesn't appear like anybody who's unproven is going to break camp with the team this year. So I think because of the, been there, done that mentality, it's going to go a long way to helping them. They have some veteran leadership now, some guys who have been to the playoffs. Brett Phillips expected to make the team. Say what you want about his play this spring, but he's been to the playoffs. Brandon Drury had a deep run with the Padres last year. Tyler Anderson's been a Dodger, so he's had some playoff success. So I think that realistically, for the time being, they're going to be able to focus on the season. But everybody knows what's at stake here. They need to make the playoffs because Trout's hungry now. He needed that. That's what he told Phil Nevin. And you also have Shohei Ohtani, who the organization is hoping to keep around because, say what we want about his contract not being worth it in 3 or 4 years. But as of right now, he's the best player in baseball.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's business as usual. It's going to be more of a media circus than it is an internal issue with the team. Ohtani's under contract. He's getting paid $30 million this year. So whatever happens, he's getting banged. He's going to be DH. He's going to be pitching. Knock on wood, disregarding any injuries that could potentially happen because, the Angels' luck is the Angels' luck. Mm-hmm. But you just go about your business. Every game is going to be every game here from game 1 to 162. And the media, we've already heard it, even last year, they need to trade him at the trade deadline. He's got a year and a half left on his contract. It started then. It started today again with the whole $500 million contract stuff. It's only going to get worse. Each time he pitches, each time he hits a home run, each time he does something unbelievable, it's going to get that much worse for the Angels optically from the media perspective.
Good points. James?
The pressure will be immense. There's no doubt about it. Right away, you can't start off the gate bad. You have to have a good winning streak or a good record. And for sure, you can't have a 14-game losing streak. You got to be in the hunt right away. There's no doubt about that. I know personally he's going to do great, Ohtani himself, but he wants everybody on the same realm of production as him, or else, like Dominic said, he's going to want out right away. Because, nothing good will happen. Why be here? So all the pressure is on the players around him, honestly. And especially on Mike Trout. And I know I'm going to get flack for this, but it seems like he's striking out more and more. I guess that just comes with the pressure on his shoulders. And I know Ohtani strikes out a lot too, but this team just needs to win in order for Ohtani to stay.
Okay. And Andrew?
Yeah. I think it goes two ways, right? Where one, you're going to have Ohtani.
Pun intended?
Yeah, right. There you go. Yeah, I mean, he's going to take a lot of attention away from the other players. So it might take pressure off of them. He's going to be getting all the post-game questions. He's going to be getting all the attention. If there's a journalist around there, they're not going to be paying attention to Brandon Drury. When he's at second base, they're going to be looking at Ohtani. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side, if there's another 14-game losing streak, you might see a lot of pressure on the players because they might be looking at a fire sale. If the team's looking to move Ohtani because they think they can't keep him, they're not going to want to just get that one pick in the offseason. And if he goes, then you could be looking at Drury being traded. You could be looking at a lot of different players being traded and a stripping of the roster.
Yeah, especially with a lot of one-year deals. Good point there too. Courtney?
I think if anything, the pressure is going to be on the players itself. Because you're playing with a goddamn unicorn every day. And how are you supposed to compete with that? How do you keep up with that? Granted, I think that just depends on player mentality. I would hope that makes you play better. But as Andrew was saying, I think if we start, hopefully not, but if we start getting into some type of losing streak or if we start getting into bad records, it could be a fire sale. Because it's not like anybody is ever going to blame Otani, like ever. And I mean the man is doing it. If he's not hitting well, at least he's pitching well.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, either way, there's a reason for the Angels to keep him. But it could be a fire sale for everybody else because it's just like, okay, well now nobody else is picking up the slack for this unicorn. You got to go. But I think if anything, the media is also creating their own circus. Like they're trying to make a bigger deal out of it than what it is sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I mean, us as Angel fans, we're worried about Otani leaving all the time. But it's more media crazy than anything that also kicks into that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a pressure that they're going to have to just get through because to me, and we're going to hit on a question here because I just got a notification that we're going to be jumping off and jumping right back on. I clicked the wrong thing. It's when you have family over, they tend to distract you and the timing is not right here. So if you guys get cut off, we are going to jump right back on, same two formats. So my bad. It's good to get the bugs out right away. So apologize in advance. So
Todd's already in midseason format.
I sure am.
The first nacho night of the year, baby.
Yeah.
Oh,
leading off, baby.
Award.
Leading off, baby. Hey, it doesn't count as preseason. Anyway,
There you go.
one question I'll ask real quick because we have a panel. We have 9 minutes till we get booted off here, or 8 minutes, whatever. With that being said, the way that the Angels season is going to be, and there's talk around the league of what happened with the ownership not going through. You have stupid owners like the Lerner family with the Nats. No offense, Sonia. The Cincinnati Reds owner coming out there talking they're going to be mediocre at best. Just telling the fans to deal with it. Owners that don't care, and then we have our owner Artie Moreno, and we've been screaming at it on this page for a while that there should be a ceiling and a floor to the cap. Obviously, if Otani goes, he's going to tear someone's cap up. San Diego's been spending money. Andrew knows about that, like left and right. But my question to you guys is, these 10, 12-year deals, how long can this last for the MLB? Owners and teams and fans in general.
Todd, because I work early mornings when I travel and, you're always generous enough to talk on the phone with me and keep me company. You and I have had this conversation off the record ad nauseum, bro. There has to be a situation where the bubble pops. I mean, even if we're just talking pure, economics for a second, with the global economy, there gets to a point where the bubble gets too big and it has to pop. Yes, there's ways to counteract things with, for instance, things like increasing interest rates can counteract inflation. So what's the baseball equivalent of that? It's the owners coming together and being like, all right, here's the standard. Shohei Ohtani, as Courtney and a lot of people have said, is the unicorn, right? He's most likely going to be baseball's first $500 million man. And can you argue against it? He's done stuff that we've never seen. I don't care about Babe Ruth. The guy would have been a plumber today. Okay? The fact of the matter is Shohei Ohtani is an incredible athlete who's doing what none of us could ever fathom being possible. So at the end of the day, his contract is going to set the tone, and it's going to, I think, need to be the absolute limit because who is going to beat Shohei Ohtani's contract? Who's going to deserve it? There has to absolutely be a salary cap truly implemented. I'm not a big fan of the luxury tax. It needs to be stricter, or the penalty just needs to be so severe that somebody not named Steve Cohen would never even dream of doing it.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations where I'm going to, for a contrarian take for a minute, I don't think Shohei Ohtani is getting $500 million. I think he's getting less than $500 million because I don't think like I said, I think he values winning over money. He'll take a lot of money. He's going to get more than $300 million, but I don't think it's going to be $500 million. And Todd, I've talked to you. Fernando, I've talked to you when we've done podcasts. Until these owners and players union swallows their pride a little bit and actually comes down to reality, the bubble will keep growing and growing. And at some point, I don't know if it's going to happen in any of our lifetimes, someone's going to become a $1 billion player. Ooh. We saw it in the NFL with Mahomes getting 10 years for $500 million and so on and so forth. And I know the money can be retroactive to later in a contract, but at the end of the day, when the number gets put out there. 500 million for one player. Ohtani, if he does get 500 million, even 600 million. What's not going to stop a high schooler now in 7 years to get a massive contract to 950 million and so on and so forth? Owners and players union need to swallow their pride and come down to earth and get realistic a little bit.
I agree. James?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm having audio issues. Can you tell me the question again?
I'll send. Basically, what's going on with the cap and ceiling or floor? Sorry for that. For baseball, is ruining things in your opinion or not? And what's going to burst the bubble?
I'm reminded of the Rockies owner, Dick Monfort. He mentioned, the Padres spending this year, but he wants to put out a 500 ball club team, but that's it. Obviously, big markets are going to shine more and spend more. Everybody has to become like San Diego and be a destination, basically. And hopefully Shohei can kind of do that. I think he'll garner the $500 million mark, I think, just for him. But like Dominic mentioned, and I think at the end of 2026 is the CBA. So hopefully the owners and players can get together and be realistic. I think just like Dominic mentioned, say, hey, we need to work out this situation where we can be realistic about our numbers, and there'll be more of a level playing field when it comes to getting free agents and signing people. But it's getting kind of out of hand. Like when I thought Trey Turner, when he went to the Phillies, I was shocked by that because I thought, well, don't they just have Bryce Harper and they signed JT Realmuto? I'm always fearful the Dodgers are going to get overspend for him. So yeah, I just think, I don't know if we'll ever get to a cap. I don't think the Players Association would ever do that in Tony Clark. So we'll see what happens.
All right, Andrew.
I think we're just seeing the beginning of it. I think salaries are going to go up a lot higher. If you just look at the revenue basis in 2022, there's $11 billion split amongst 30 teams. That's $366 million a team. If we're looking at the value that Ohtani offers, teams get to keep 48% of the revenue for merchandise. I can only imagine how many Ohtani jerseys are being sold around the planet right now.
Absolutely.
I would bet in merchandising he's paying for his contract just out of jerseys every year. And so $50 million a year for Ohtani, who's probably going to pay for himself in merchandise, it seems like a drop in the bucket when it comes to what the actual issues are for the Angels financially.
I think you and I have talked about that literally hundreds of times, Andrew, that Ohtani pays for himself.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Literally, word for word. You've said that multiple times, and it's hard to argue with you. You go to the stadium, it's 90% Ohtani.
Yeah, so if anyone's gonna deserve, we can get into the argument whether or not anyone ever deserves a $600 million deal or $700 million deal. Ethically, maybe not, but as far as what he's earning for the club, he'll pay for himself. So I don't think it's an issue to give this guy $50-60 million a year.
Yeah, it seems about right. Before we get to you, Courtney, I'm going to have you lead off our next segment on the next live I'm going to jump into because through me, picked the wrong link. So I got to redo everything. So I apologize, everyone that's on YouTube and Facebook. We got a pretty good number right here on YouTube and Facebook. YouTube and Instagram. We got
show your age, Papa Todd.
Yeah. And don't forget about MySpace. But but yeah.
Don't forget about Omegle.
Yeah. Hey, let me jump off real quick. I'll send these guys the link again, and we'll pick up right where we left off. So give me about a minute, people.
Okay, mine.
Yeah, remember your answer. You're next.
Recording in progress. Recording stopped.